Hello. I would like to hear how you guys are doing, and I don't want to do just I'm doing good, you know. I want you to take a deep breath. When you breathe out, I want you to make a sound that shows how you're feeling. So let's go. Ready? Deep breath in. Ah! One more time. Deep breath in. There you go. I'm actually going to do a little sound check for you guys. I know it's early in the morning, but I want to get y'all involved. Yeah, fire in the elements. We limited and separate. Ha. Unlimited together. Yeah. I said fire in the elements. We limited and separate. Unlimited together. Yeah, fire in the elements. We limited and separate. Unlimited together. Yeah. I got my style grandiose. Coast from the coast, process the temporary ropes. Conjure up portals with these beats and rhyme. Couture the open channel, elevated in design. Or yoga, acupuncture, marble point, same thing. Or karma, or Lord D, see on the same vein. No strain comprehension, maintain ascension. May aim is prevention, people power the system. People power to listen. MC and verbal reiki, check of the cheek. My power to perceive is free. Karma science born from the planet Earth. It's called the universe. It's called the earth. Fire in the elements. We limited and separate. Unlimited together. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and spit that verse again. There you go. I said, my style is grandiose. Coast from the coast, rust since the 10th commandment broke. Conjured up portals with these beats and rhymes. Contorted open channels, Ayurvedic in design. Or yoga, acupuncture, mama point, same thing. Karma, or Lord deeds, see of the same vein. No strain comprehension, maintain ascension. Main aim is prevention. People power the system. People power to listen. MC and verbal reiki, channel the chi. Mind power to perceive is free. Karma science born from the planet Earth. It's called the universe. It's called the spirit explored. Honor the maker. It's for the path of the creator and take it comedic science. It's Sufi alliance. A spin rotating like the sun sent the galaxy. We build the same inner and build this currency. So this is how I enter into the classroom a lot of times with the youth, and you know, they're like, this dude's our teacher? I'm like, yes I am. I have been an MC, a b-boy, a hip-hop being since birth. I think when I heard Planet Rock as a kid, I was like, that's the music. And I remember whispering that to myself. I was like, oh, that's the music. So it really called to me. And it came through my body. And when I say it came through my body, like the translation of the music spoke to my body. It wasn't like something I was like, oh, I feel very, it was a feel thing, but it was a body feel thing. And when I say body feel thing, I mean energetically at different vortexes in my body. I feel it. And I didn't realize that until later, that those vortexes were actually areas of consciousness that I was absorbing through the music. It's a really interesting phenomenon. When I studied healing arts at the Colorado School of Healing Arts, we had a lot of people coming to the massage table, and we started studying body energy working, and I was like, this is some bullshit. Like, I'm like, these people are like, yo, I feel the energy, man. Like, I feel it. And I'm just like, no, what are you talking about? Like, that's cool, like, I hadn't touched enough bodies to actually understand that. I was just like, okay. And I don't doubt that some of those people were actually feeling something, right? I don't doubt it. But for me, I needed a little bit more proof, or I needed to really feel it to actually acknowledge it in a certain sense. Over the years, I've been doing healing arts and music since before '98, I guess. But I've been blessed to be able to work on thousands of bodies since I started. And cultivating healing arts and cultivating music, you realize there is a direct correlation between the two. Actually, that's where I got the title of my album that I'm really working on right now. The album is titled Interstate, Interstellar. And it's a reference to justice. And justice is also a musical tone. And justice to me is your inner harmonies inside of you as a kid. You know these harmonies. You know what's harmonious. And you also know what balance is. And those inner harmonies and balance manifested in the outer world is, in my terms, justice. And justice can be translated as a healing thing too. When you are at where the outside world feels like a discord tone, it's going to affect your inner world. You're going to have ideas that are vibrating a tone to your body that's saying, oh, this is not working for me. This is not connected to me. This tone is different from me. I'm separated. And I believe music has always brought people together. And it's like, from ancient times, musicians have been the thread that holds our culture together. It's where we gathered around the fire and sang songs and told stories and comforted ourselves and studied our inner harmonies and showed our inner harmonies to our people to reassure them that, hey, you're feeling this, I'm feeling this, let's share that together. Let's find the balance and share that together. That's what sound and music has always done. There is a power behind intention. Intention with frequency creates a moving power. There's a study done, a guy on a beach with a tape recorder pressed record on the tape recorder and recorded the beach, the sounds, the natural sounds of the ocean. These sounds are real soothing, waves crashing. Then he brought 20 people, sat them down around the tape recorder, and meditated, or had them meditate on fear. On the beach, that sounds crazy, right? Like, meditate fear. How do I do that? So they did that for a good amount of time, like 2 minutes, and recorded that. Then he got another tape, put it in the tape recorder, and it recorded the same beach, same people, but they meditated on empowerment, love, and for another 2 minutes, whatever. Took these 3 tapes and brought it to a sort of a lab type situation where he brought other folks in, put headphones on, and brought in a kinesiologist to muscle test these people. So they did a base muscle test and kind of got the sort of base of where the strength was in the people, in the kinesiology. Documented that. And the second was the beach sound. There's nobody knew what sounds they were listening to. They just sound like the beach. And they muscle tested. The first tape was just the beach. And these people showed to be stronger with just the beach sounds. So the natural sound strengthened the kinesiology, the kinesiology of the people. Then they played the one meditating on fear. And the kinesiology dropped below where it first started with nothing. Where we first tested it, dropped below that. So these people didn't say anything like, "Oh, I'm scared." Oh, they weren't saying that on the tape. They were just like meditating on fear. The third tape, with the empowering tape or the empowering vibe behind the frequency, the kinesiology raised up above everything else. So what does that tell us? We're listening to sound, right? There's a sound coming through the speaker to our ears, but there's an intention behind that. And human beings are responding to that. Beyond the spectrum of hearing that we can actually perceive. There's a physicist that I study. She is a physicist for NASA. And her name is Barbara Ann Brennan, but she has remarkable studies on human energy fields. Her conclusion, or not conclusion, but what really struck out to me was that we have this notion that we exist in this body, right? We're like outside looking in, or from inside looking out. What she actually discovered was that our consciousness extends out up to 12 feet energetically. So we're not seeing that, right? But who's walked into a room and been like, that person's staring at me, Oh, so what she is saying is that we hear, we see, we feel, we touch, we taste on a spectrum. I was an X-ray tech for a long time. I studied physics in that sense. The guys that studied, or the couple that studied X-rays died because they were like, "Yo, this is cool. Yo, look, I can see through my body. Check that out." Like they were like killing themselves with radiation that they could not perceive. Right? So what's to say that just because we operate on this spectrum for sound, sight, touch, taste, what's to say that there's not something beyond that, way beyond that? We create this sort of hologram for ourselves, walking around in our reality, in our intention. We create this hologram through this limited scope of what is actual reality. In the classroom, I introduced chakra toning to the kids. And I talk about the chakra toning, the utterable sounds, as language that all human beings can understand. If I walked up to you and I was like, "Yo, you'd be like, "What's over there?" It's like, stinks. Like, what's going on? If I came up to you and I was like, "Ooh, you'd be like, "Oh, that's enticing." It's like some fruit on a tree. I don't know. You got some over there, some chocolate. Those are like, lower chakra. The uhs, the root. The oohs, like the second chakra, like, ooh, it's enticing. So there's like you're not attracted, you're attracted. The third chakra is, oh. So you're coming to like consciousness on a level of don't like, I get it now. There's like and don't like. Okay, I got it figured out, right? There's things I should like and should not like. And a lot of times, especially the crowd that I teach, teenagers, very much on that lower chakra level. I'm not saying that they won't get to their upper chakra levels, but I think it's sort of just innate in teenagers for some reason. I have several teenagers at home right now. So I call it the lizard brain, right? It's like, oh, it smells good. Oh yeah, and they kind of know where to go. They know how to like map out where they. Yes, our reptilian brain knows these things. The fourth chakra is where we start to open up, where we start to acknowledge past ourselves. And that sound is, ah. Everybody give it, let me hear you guys. 1, 2, 3. Ah. So you get it, right? You get it. I didn't have to say anything. I could just speak in those tones and we could just have a conversation for like 20 minutes. So that's, actually let's try this real quick. Are you guys familiar with this artist or this scientist? Masaru Emoto. So he basically froze, or he kind of put water in refrigerators and put ideas in front of the water, or like thoughts or words. And have people come and meditate on these words. And these beautiful and sometimes ugly, geometrical shapes started to happen. And it almost corresponded to like the toning of the words. When you had, fear, it was like, it looked like fear, the shape that it had. Thoughts are sound. Sound in somatics shows that they take shape. And there's beauty in the shape. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And say ah. And think about the shape or color you see. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ah. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Ah. See? Do you guys feel anything? See anything? Any kind of perception beyond just the sound? That's kind of where, as a healer, I do energy work now, and I just kind of recently allowed myself to do it. Or at least professionally, where I get paid, where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll charge you for that. But I've been doing that stuff forever with intention, and the way that I move just beyond what I can see or hear or taste or touch is using a visualization of that, like that. So I'll visualize, I'll close my eyes and I'll work with what I see. And a lot of times, through trying and testing, a lot of stuff is spot on. And you can figure out what tones do what and what they mean and what's real and what's fake and what's kind of like part of my ego and what's part of actually what the energy is. One thing I think is a tough tone that we're all dealing with. We talked about the election and the time. And this is in healing arts, this is in music, this is in personality, this is vibing, people vibrating the sound, the tone. But our desire to be supreme is one of the most health-wise damaging thoughts that we can have in the body, period. I don't know if you guys have had, I'm sure we've all had this, but drama at work and somebody's trying to get over on you, and you're like, they're trying to be supreme. I could be supreme too. That reaction is it's all the same. Your desire to be supreme, you're thinking, oh, someday I will be supreme. I will, All of that, tone-wise, sound-wise, is one of the most unhealthy things for the body. Talk about funky-looking geometrics. That stuff really tears people up. So, in the sense of lowest self, yeah, we could sort of stay there and not really, we just want to get ours and understand what ours is and what, you know what I mean? But once we get to the fourth chakra, we realize there's others out there and that we can release some of that. Let me move on to the fifth, which is I. Your throat chakra. I. Everybody say it? I love this. This is great for me right now. So that's acknowledging yourself, but with the consciousness of others, that you exist too. And then we have the third eye, which is, hey. You're feeling it too, right? Hey. Oh, I feel that. Hey, hey, hey. And the seventh, which is above kind of our head, our crown chakra, is E. And I love doing this around my kids because they're like, Dad, you gotta chill on that, But everybody try that real quick. Put it above your head. Yes. Yes. So in the classroom, it's been really, really cool to introduce the kids to this, I call it healing arts, music phenomenon, that they share a common bond, harmony, and balance. I work in some, pretty intense treatment centers. There's a kid that I work with, he's still around, but he's a great rapper and real intense guy. Just had this crazy look. Come to find out later that his mom had tried to kill him, and he tried to kill his mom, which I was like, oh my God. It's try to just maintain, okay, because that's a really hard thing for anybody to go through. It kills my heart. But we started talking about the chakra tones, and I started showing them rainbows and spectrums and things like that, and breaking that down. And we brought in a good friend of ours, Ronnie Chi, who is my Tai Chi master. And the whole class went out to the courtyard at this treatment center, and we were all getting into our Tai Chi, our Qigong, and kids were doing it, and everybody was feeling good, and we'd done this for 5 minutes, and it was moving really smooth. And this kid was really into it, and he's like, yo, I don't mean to stop y'all right now. I don't mean to, interrupt this, but if you put your hand over the clear skies in the sun, there's a rainbow around the sun right now. So while we're doing Tai Chi, I've never seen a cloud do that in the daytime, in a clear day. But there's a rainbow. There's a rainbow around the sun, and then there's another rainbow around the sun. And I love how serendipity works, but this was something I couldn't explain it. And none of the teachers were all oh my goodness, we just couldn't explain it. But that kid to this day is like, yo, I mean, he's just so on it. I mean, it gave him something that he just, it's like, this stuff seemed kind of not real, but at that moment, it was like, what else could you say about that with the serendipity, you know, with all that? And talking about this with the youth in other classrooms, I mean, they're like, yo, Babah, you're deep, yo. You made me think about music like in a whole different way, like, and I get that all the time. And I almost feel like, you know, letting go of that idea of supremacy. That we're like, we are, like that individual was supreme to the other individual, and we could get there too, is killing us. Killing our children. I mean, they're just like, they're so ready to hear somebody say that to them. Because it's so part of our culture. It's so part of like the rat race, how we survive, you know? And my take on that is, you know, we're all tapped into I would say a supreme tone. All of us. There's a tone underneath everything about us. Some mystics have talked about it and said they can hear it. They hear it all the time. That tone and tuning yourself to that doesn't make you as an individual supreme, but you tap into that superiority of that tone. Does that mean, this is why I think a lot of mystics mystics have never been interested in power. Finding that tone doesn't mean they're going to go, oh, I can take over the world. No. Because once that idea, again, that's that superiority complex starts to go in, guess what? That power goes, boop, gone. Let me play you guys something, because this is really interesting for me. There's a tone that we are basing our contemporary music off of as of 1918. They started to use the 440 kilohertz. That means 440 wave cycles per second to tone our music to. It's the key of A, or no, key of C. They uprooted a lot of instruments from antiquity, from Egypt, Greece, and other places like that, where the tuning of the instruments was at 432 cycles per second. Now that, who knows what that means, right? Just maybe we're not perceiving what it is. But what they found is 432 is a lot more prevalent in nature than 440. And I brought my computer here because I want you guys to, we're going to do a little experiment. Again, let's try to, let me pull it up real quick, hold on. All right, so I want everybody to kind of close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and I want you guys to envision sound, shapes to this sound. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm not going to tell you which one it is. I'm just going to try to go back and forth. Okay, take a deep breath. Now, same thing, sound, shape. Anybody notice a difference? Anything? Which one gave you a more clearer shape, the first or second one? The first, okay. So the first one was the 440. So the first was 440. It's 8 cycles, 8 waves less per second than the other one. Now let me give you guys I don't know if this is going to be a great experiment, but here's the 432 again. And here's the 440. It's a real finite difference. And I mean, I'm barely hearing it a little bit. But what a lot of people have theorized, I mean, this happened in 1918 after World War II. And we think about like our history and this tone, all that's happened. We're talking about the Industrial Revolution, we're talking rise of Hitler, supremacy. I mean, not saying that it hadn't existed before, but there's people talking about this tone being a use for propaganda and to get us attuned to this so where we're a little bit more numb to natural vibrations, to natural sound. I can't prove it, but I think it's a very it's a lot of coincidence, but, and I'm not, again, same thing with the energy work. I'm not jumping on it right now, but I'm just, it makes me kind of think about things. I'm also reading a very interesting book about a medium that is, she wrote The Alchemy of 9 Dimensions. And she's talking about how there's a certain tone and dimension that human beings are kind of stuck at this point in time. The 7th dimension is kind of where we're stuck at, but she's actually talking about there's 8 and 9 that we can expand to, and 9 being time. So our ability as human beings to control time. So on the scale that we use in Western, that we're kind of in tune to is, up to the 7. Eastern has the 9. I'm just using these numbers, and this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I just, this is stuff I like to study, and I like to look at these coincidences. All scientists will do that. And music is like the most finite science, right? Everything is music. Everything is sound. We're vibrating right now. This molecular composition right here is because of vibration. My energy that I'm putting out to y'all is vibration. So we are all sound right now. And healing vibrations. I mean, it's a tough place to find sometimes in our culture. I look at, oh my gosh, I look at the Oakland fire with those artists, and how do we let that happen to our artists? When there's so much to be discovered through art and music and sound and frequency, and they're living in slums and in those kind of conditions, and I feel like it's subtle energy, subtle energetics. Sometimes are the most powerful thing. Just because we don't see oh, that art is really, it's effective. I can see how my stocks went up, and I'm gaining more, bank account, income. It's not like we're seeing that, right? There's a subtlety to it. And again, I challenge all of us here today to look beyond what's right in front of our face. There's other dimensions that human beings can discover. We've shown this through physics and, like I said, I was an X-ray tech. It's like, how can we see what is not there? Where's our belief in that? And it's hard. It's not easy. It's easy to just kind of like go along and just be like, okay, cool. Being an artist is definitely it's a gift, and it can be at times like a curse, because you're like, oh my God, I see too much, let me wear a hat, and so I block out some of the sound. But I feel like with the youth, they're so ready to take it to the next level, and I really have a lot of hope that when we're kind of forced to get to that breaking point, we really, as human beings, have risen up and shown our best. So I'm trying to not leave you guys with some heavy, but it is a heavy time. But anyway, I would like to give a shout out to Jamie and CreativeMornings, Youth on Record, all my fellow artists that I've worked with, and I really appreciate you guys being here today. Make some noise for yourself. It's a beautiful that you guys are out here supporting the creative movements. And said I'm in I just started a crowdfunding campaign for Interstellar, and I'm using the music production as a sort of way to get into the healing arts and a way to tap into these chakra toning, into Tai Chi, into more, I guess, esoteric arts into the music. And the album that I've got is sort of like a spearhead. What I do a lot of times is I'll go into, I went to where I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, and I went into a prison to school pipeline school. I mean, it was just crazy. The teachers and all the staff was like, hey, these kids are bad, you gotta watch out, giving me all this business. I go in there with all this stuff and music, and they were like, yo, how did you have the kids seated for 2 hours listening to you? We've never had that done before. And it's like, wow, you have not listened to the kids, and you're not tapping into their potential. So that's what the crowdfunding album is, and I performed in Arkansas too, which I wore a Bernie Sanders shirt on stage, walked around, what I mean? It was a very I'm here, kind of moment, but so I'm trying to do more of that stuff. So any kind of support you guys could lend to that. I've also got CDs from my record in 2009 called Electro Sufi that are on sale up there. So check that out and support your local artists, support all these nonprofits that are trying to make a change. So once again, thank you guys again. I appreciate y'all. Okay.